What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, hump day to you. Prayers to our people in Florida. Prayers up, prayers up. You know, the world is crazy. If you follow my content, you know that I start my blogs like that quite a bit. This world is crazy. Lots of crazy stuff going on. Um, Locally, globally, or I would say domestically, globally, lots of stuff going on. Lots of people to keep in our prayers, both domestic and afar. But it's interesting. I feel like we as a society, we have sort of progressed into this. I don't know. It seems like we've been more desensitized by everything, whether it's manners, just logical procedures, and even just making logical decisions. I feel like when I was growing up, journalists truly were journalists. They were investigators. I think a lot of the truth that we got when I was growing up actually came from the journalists. You had a lot of people who took their jobs very seriously. They weren't just reporting on the news, they were the news because they were doing some of those behind the scenes investigations. They were acting as almost private PIs, right? But the days of those types of journalists are over, right? Because most journalists, they're more opinion givers than facts to actual news that is happening. How you doing, Manish? I'm just talking about your modern day journalists. And this is, and I don't want to take a stab at every single journalist. I think that there's a small segment of them who are dedicated to the craft. They understand what it means to be a good journalist. But there's some who they are just leverageable puppets. That's exactly what they are. These are leverageable people to the government, the propaganda machine, and they're not really interested in doing any type of due diligence at all. Like, it's just like, let's get a juicy story, whether it makes sense, whether it's of public interest, just throw the public hot garbage, is what I feel like most journalists, so called journalists, are doing today. I am like Instagram because your thought process is too much good for it. Thank you so much, Manish. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. And how are you doing, James? Uh, Peace to y'all. But we got Piers Morgan on the mic having to apologize after getting legal pressure from Jay Z and Beyonce. Now, why would Piers have to get this? Well, he had that loose cannon, that sort of conspiracy theories, because that's what I think of Jaguar Wright. I think of her as a conspiracy theorist, right? What Jaguar Wright does, in my opinion, is she takes all the rumors, all the assumptions that everybody thought before. I actually shared a audio clip of Dame Dash earlier, basically saying that a lot of the things that Jaguar is saying, these are things that he observed being closer in those circles, but he obviously could not speak on those things because it was a business risk, right? But he's not shocked. A lot of things that Jaguar Wright is saying, right? These are things that are, to me, straight out of a rumor mill, anyways. Most of the people have these ideas. I don't think that she has any in depth insights than anybody else. And when you kind of listen to how Jaguar Wright frames a lot of stuff, it's really not even coming from a place of definitive knowledge. It's really just running on the same assumptions that a lot of us already knew. So for Piers Morgan to have this loose cannon on his show talking about Diddy, this woman is unpredictable. She's going to talk about any and everything. And really, she's trying to plug in as many of these people as possible. So he bring her on to talk about Diddy. And then she goes into Jay-Z, right? She goes into Jay-Z. Well, obviously Jay Z, and I got to go back to the comments that she was making, but apparently they didn't like a lot of the comments that she was making, so they sick their lingo team on her, and this is what Pierce is now saying.
Sean Diddy Combs have burst the floodgates on salacious claims about an industry many people believe harboured a monster. Understandably, the internet's ablaze with claims about these events and whether other powerful figures were involved too. Well, last week I interviewed Jaguar Wright, a singer-songwriter who's made claims about Diddy for years. Those claims had already received a lot of attention in the media across many platforms for many years. And that's the thing about platforms. The reality of the modern world is that pretty much
But
everyone.
look at the platforms that actually host Jaguar Right. These are not creditable news platforms at all. These are independent platforms, gossip columnists. So it's like, Pierce, you are a professional journalist, sir. You are a professional journalist. You should be vetting these people. You should have a whole vetting process, and that process should not include all of these popular opinion piece bloggers are featuring this maniac on their blog. So now I should do that because she's open and willing to just say any and everything about these people, right? So he's putting his own platform at risk by having somebody like Jaguar Wright on there. And she has said so many different, just ridiculous things about people, allegations that it's just, to me, you wouldn't even be that close to that person to know that. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody's really questioning, how close was Jaguar Wright to these people, and how much of the stuff that she is saying is more speculation or rumor mill. And nobody really is kind of like calling that out, that this woman has a lot of issues. She's been arrested. Her and her baby daddy has had some issue. This woman is like, it's like literally having a mentally ill person be a credible witness. Like, she gives mental illness. So the fact that Piers Morgan would sacrifice his platform by having this person, I personally think that Jaguar Wright is an op. I think she's not, because she's not dead yet. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to pull an Elon Musk. Elon recently said nobody's trying to kill Kamala and Biden like they're trying to kill Trump. But I'm just saying, people like Jaguar Wright, they what she's doing is a risk to her life, right? And a lot of people have said, like, I'm surprised she's still alive, spewing the vitriol that she is about some of these people in the music industry, whether she's right or wrong, right? What she's doing is very dangerous, and the fact that she's been doing it for as long as she has tells me that that woman has a level of protection. She's like an op. They're going to bring her on board and say all kinds of things to plant seeds in the public's mind about certain individuals. And that's what I really do look at Jaguar Wright as she's an op, right? So Piers Morgan, you have this app on your show, and now you're
Everyone has a platform
apologizing.
as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jay, you were right, unexpectedly made several serious
So he's saying that the reason why he had her on his show was because everybody seemed to want to be listening to Jaguar, right? So he just thought, well, it's only logical for us to have her on our show. But what he didn't really calculate is that Jaguar Wright says whatever the hell she wants to say, whether it makes sense or not.
allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to
Fair
respond or
usage.
defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview.
He had to comply because what people don't realize is that people like Jaguar Wright, they're walking defamation. They're walking defamation. I'm surprised this woman, like, I don't know how much money she has and is worth suing her, but a lot of the stuff that she is saying, because again, you got to read between the lines. She's really speaking on a lot of quote Illuminati conspiracies that a lot of people already felt, right? She's just putting it out there as somebody who's been connected to the industry, and that gives her some cred. But my whole thing is, look at Jaguar's tenure in the industry. Look at her tenure in the industry. Was she really just in these circles? Like when she's commenting on modern day industry stuff, do we really assume that Jaguar is even close enough in these circles to be able to say anything definitive? Smart people would say no. This woman is talking on assumption. And even if her assumptions are true, because again, this is an industry riddled with evil file people. This is an industry riddled with Satanism. This is an industry that she chose to be a part of, right? So we already know it's a lot of vile stuff going on in this industry. But Jaguar Wright, she starts commenting on things that, to me, these are people that are relatively newer in the industry than when you were in there. So how do you know their business? She's commenting on any and everybody's business, even people that she wasn't even directly associated with. So you're basically believing somebody who is just spreading rumors, whether some of those rumors may have factual basis or not. A lot of the things that she's saying is rumor mill stuff. I really do believe that. Here's the thing. Assumptions are the best way to go on absence of fact, but what you don't want to do is be running around spouting your assumptions, because that's where you start getting into the defamation zone, right? The reason why Piers got a cease and desist from Jay-Z and Beyonce's attorney is because he allowed somebody who runs on assumptions all the time to be on his platform just spitting any and everything, and she ended up spitting some defamatory remarks that actually put him in a position where he had to retract his interview with her for legal
Editing
purposes.
interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
So he got to open his show apologizing to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Germany in the house. V Gates. V Gates. Um, I'm just talking about Jaguar Wright, right? And her being featured on Piers Morgan's show, and now Piers is coming back apologizing because he had this defamatory person on his platform in the first place. Like I said, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to listen to Jaguar's Wright's interview and feel like that some of the things that she's saying, even if they may have some great assumptions to them, they're really coming from a place of assuming and not close relations to what she's saying. So I would say to any platform, be careful. Be careful. See, because Pierce Morgan, he's big enough where he can get these, sort of cease and desist, hey, correct this, whoop de whoop, right? But some of these people, they could strike your whole channel. They could do a lot of stuff to shut you down with the defamatory stuff. So I wouldn't really, I mean, to me, if I was like a big platform, Jaguar Wright would be the last person that I would want on my platform. There's really nothing that she personally could really say, because everything that she's saying, I can just go to an Illuminati video and you know what I mean? So y'all let me know what you think about this. Piers Morgan, we thought you were better than this to have that maniac on. When I heard that Jaguar Wright was on Piers Morgan, I thought it was weird as hell. I really did. I didn't really understand why she was there, but I get it. He need a whole bunch of black looking people to be on this show talking about Diddy. I get it. I get it. They're really trying to get all the voices on Diddy. But the one thing that they're not going to allow is for people to try to take down Jay-Z, right? Because Jay-Z hasn't really done anything to the evil machine for them to be turning on him. So I think Jay-Z is going to slide through this, right? Jay's been playing ball. And like I said in my last video, if Diddy wouldn't, I believe the catalyst to Diddy was not Cassie. It was he decided to sue one of the biggest liquor distributors in this world, and it didn't work out well. He won, of course, but you look at the takedown afterwards, right? Jay ain't out there going against those big conglomerates because Jay he's probably smarter than that. He's like, I'm just gonna stay in my place. I ain't gonna get too froggish, right? But Diddy got too froggish, and he was like, I'm so powerful that I can actually go up against this conglomerate and win and be untouched. They like, nah, we're gonna short squeeze you out of those winnings, and that's what I think is really happening to Diddy. He's an evil dude, no doubt, no doubt, but he won a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit, in my opinion, and they're trying to short squeeze him. They're short squeezing him. Evil dude, well deserved, but he just sued the wrong conglomerate, in my opinion, and they're really pissed off that they had to come up off of those billions. That's my thought about Diddy. But let me know what you guys think about Piers Morgan getting on the microphone, having to get on the microphone publicly and apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce for having Jaguar Wright on there saying defamatory statements, right, about them. All right. I don't have a problem with Piers Morgan. His interviewing style is a little weird for me. And he definitely get some of his guests definitely can make him look like an idiot. They say the liquor distributor thing is one of them. I believe that. The other was what is it? Articulating he wanted to start a black political party. I heard those allegations too. I heard that Diddy was doing some behind the scenes stuff that maybe some of those folks didn't like. And that black political party thing is not far fetched to me, just because, like I said, in 2020, Diddy, who has been a Democratic op, like he has been leveraged by the Democratic machine forever, he literally tells black Americans, make them earn your vote in 2020. And if y'all notice, after Diddy made that statement, make them earn your vote, like meaning that black people, if they're not offering anything tangible to you on the table, don't vote for them, make them earn your vote, right? That was the wrong thing for Diddy to be telling black people, and you're a Democratic shield, or you've been acting like a Democratic shield all these years, protected by that machine, rubbing shoulders with those politicians. That's the wrong thing for you to tell black Americans, especially black Americans who have been chained by the Democrats for all these centuries, right? So it's one of those things where Diddy was already speaking like he was going against the machine. And I think when he did that liquor, I think when he, won that, liquor company lawsuit, that was kind of like him raging against the machine. I love Rage Against the Machine, but he was raging against the machine. And they couldn't take that. I believe that, when you want to talk about the intimidation that some people have when it comes to smart, powerful. Let's remove all the evil, crazy stuff they did. The man was smart and he had his own level of power. And the fact that he was able to sue a powerful conglomerate like that and actually win, these people in these systems and these structures, they don't like stuff like that, right? Especially if they have to come up off some money. They don't like stuff like that. So when people talk about Diddy pissed the wrong people off, I definitely concur with that. I definitely concur with that. Ain't no way in hell you about to get the key to the city last year and then now you in jail this year, and the guy who gave you the key to the city, he been indicted too. What the hell is going on? I personally think that Eric Adams and Diddy, right? They was on some real black empowerment stuff. And some people didn't like that. Some people didn't like that. I really do believe that, hey, these dudes can be totally guilty of some of the things that they're being accused of right now. But we got a lot of allegations on the table. But I think Eric Adams and Diddy, they was on some black empowerment stuff that these folks probably did not like, and so they're like, we're taking out all the black liabilities. If they're not gonna fall in line, we're gonna take them out. And them Democrats are already panicking this election cycle because Trump got so many black people on lock. And if you're a Democrat, you can go on somewhere with your emotions. The polls aren't lying to us. Your girl Kamala is not doing well. Um, we will pray for Kamala and her identity issues, but she shouldn't have let the Democrats leverage her identity. That's where Kamala Harris really messed up, right? That and the fact that she's just not a strong character or person. She's not charismatic, right? She's she, she is, I don't know what to say about her, but she's not right for the presidency. She's not right for the presidency at all. But that is just to say that these Democrats, they need to have black people, powerful black people on lock. And if they can't keep them on lock, they're going to take them down. I think Diddy kind of went rogue in the machine, and they were just like, they're trying to humble him, put him in his place. I don't know. But Diddy definitely pissed off the Democrats and their little machine, their little usury machine. I think it's plausible that the only reason Piers had to apologize is because J and B are still protected. That's what I just said, not because Jaguar lied. That's what I said. Jay-Z has not went off script. He's still doing the old shuck and jive for the machine because he's trying to protect himself and trying to move smart, right? Diddy got beside himself, I think. I think Diddy got beside himself in that machine, and he just thought, you know what, I'm going all in. And I don't even think he got beside himself. I think he just got tired of being the boy. I think he just got tired of being the boy in the machine. He's like, I'm a grown man. I don't want these people, thinking that they can't cut deals with me, on the same plane as some of these other people, right? And I think, when you really think about what some of these people go through, I do believe that, it was racism involved with that alcohol deal, and he just got enough of dealing with that. There are some black people, they will deal with little bigot machines forever, and they'll just try to get their tokens and keep it moving. And some black people, they like, man, enough is enough. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sue you, because Diddy could have took that whole deal and said, y'all not playing ball, forget it, I'm walking away. But there was too much money on the table. It's too much money on the table. And I think it was about respect, right? I did this for your company. He turned the brand around, and he was expecting the same courtesy when it came to his brand. They didn't give it to him. So lots to say about why Diddy is in this situation, really, because again, the man has been getting away with these freak offs, all these little evil file stuff that he's being accused of for decades. For decades, we've known about Usher, we've known about all these little scenarios for a very long time, but it wasn't until Diddy started suing these folks that he lost his protection. And the only reason, like you said, the only reason why Pierce is apologizing is because Jay and Beyonce are still protected. They're still lemmings in the machine. They're not going to go against the machine. They're still playing ball. So because they're still playing ball, right, they're going to get on Pierce. They're going to send their legal team, and Pierce is going to do exactly what he just did. Apologize. What was that show where he was like, apologize? Was that South Park? Apologize. That's what Piers had to do. Was that South Park? Where it's like Jesse Jackson or whatever, and he was like, apologize. That's what Piers Morgan had to do. Yes, Jay-Z is smart. These brothers have not been in this machine as long as they have. Think about it. All the artists that came up with Jay-Z, and I'm a 90s baby, right? So I saw all these artists, these black artists that were on top, SWV, all these artists that came up with these dudes, they all got screwed over by the industry. A lot of those black artists in the early 90s and 2000s, they were completely screwed over by the industry. And one of the things that I always thought is, how did Jay-Z and Diddy and all these other people, like, how did they survive? But now we know how they survived. They were sort of playing ball, right? They were playing ball. And I do think that the music industry is a bit Ponzi scheme too. So they were probably part of the little Ponzi scheme. We're gonna get you, drop a couple of songs, get whatever we can out of you, and then shelf you, right? They started really expending these artists, I believe, going towards the 2000s so that they can completely own them, all of their work, and pay them very, very little. That's why most of these artists are broke as hell, but they just look rich because they're renting a lot of stuff and there's a facade that they need to keep up. But a lot of these people are getting nickel and dime off of their talents. And I think one of the things that Diddy, really showed us, and the one thing I want to say too is because people are always talking about black people are lazy, black people lazy. You can't say that about Sean Diddy Combs because he did flip a brand that was shipping 40,000 cases a year to 2.6 million cases a year. His work did that. That man put in work for that brand and he flipped it. All right. So get a brother his flowers on that. I'm always say that he flipped that brand, and I don't really feel like they were very grateful. I don't think Diddy liked the fact that they weren't grateful and the fact that they tried to sabotage his own brand. That brother, he definitely, did what he felt like preserved his respect, right? But I don't think did he realize the after effect of suing that company, that they were that powerful that they could just get all their little fat buddies who were cataloging everything that he was doing because they were protecting his ass. Open the Diddy file. Open the Diddy file. And that's what the feds did, right? That's exactly what they did. Yeah, he made them do I don't know what is the I don't know what the hard boiled egg change device sucking on something. He was getting jiggy with Will Smith. I heard that Diddy and Will Smith had some interactions, but I can't co-sign that. And here's the thing, I question a lot of times with all this Diddy stuff, you know, there's a deeper thing going on, and I look at things from all angles, right? Let's just say that the accusations against Diddy were true, right? Then when it comes to the United States emasculation of men, Diddy would be a part of that. These slick emasculations of men, Diddy would be a part of that, because look at what some of these allegations are saying that he was doing. He was taking these street dudes, right? Street dudes. I mean, I hear some of these street dudes that like we real dudes. We ain't rocking with that side stuff, right? And they're talking about Diddy was making advances towards them. Real thug dudes. This dude was making advances of them. And so I think, he was a predator of men, in my opinion, of to me, alpha type males at that. He was trying to see if, your alpha male was strong enough that if we throw you a couple of million, would you give up your alpha male and become a beta bitch for this money? So, I mean, when I look at people like Meek Mill, for example, I don't know what happened between Diddy and Meek. I really don't, But I will say that the fact that Meek is involved with these little dude capades, the fact that, they're talking about Chris Brown, they're naming a lot of black men who were involved in these activities, right? I do believe that this is like an emasculation strategy. I really do. I think it's an emasculation strategy, and I do believe that Diddy was a part of emasculating black men. That's what I believe. I think that was one of his jobs, is he was in a machine that hates black men, and obviously they want to buck break these dudes. You want a contract? We got to buck break you. It's really the modern day way of buck breaking people. And that's just what I'm thinking that Diddy was. He was a buck breaker. He was really a buck breaker. You want to be famous? Got to buck you. And we got to be honest about that too. This brother was out here emasculating other men. He was emasculating them. Oh yeah, I mean, I talked about Justin Bieber, man. I feel bad for that dude. I mean, we gonna pray for Justin Bieber. You know, he done went back to Jesus, but I'm pretty sure that dude is scarred. And the one thing about Justin Bieber that I often wonder is if there was some abuse involved, and you're talking about these sort of ritualistic type of things. I'm wondering, is what's really messing Justin Bieber up is, did they make him violate a child? Because that's what these people, there was a girl, I forgot her last name, she was something Carter. My sister was telling me about her, and she was talking about she was a victim of these ritual type celebrity industry parties, and she said that she was a party favor. And my sister said that a party favor at an industry party is a child. And these people, and they're basically set on a table. And basically, the deviants attending the party can choose the child, violate the child, and then after they violate it, put the child back on the table for another deviant attending the party to violate. And I do believe that things like that exist. This girl recently came back out, and what I'll do is I'm gonna get my sister to share that video with me, and I'll do another live stream specifically talking about her. I think her name is Allie Carter, and she claims to be the offspring of Tupac. But she's kind of like one of those Jaguar white people where she knows a lot of stuff about these hidden industry parties, and maybe she's running on assumption. But she came out recently and said that she's been trying to tell people about Diddy for a long time, and nobody believed her. And then that's when she went into the fact that she was a party favor at one of those parties. And we don't know if this is true or not, but she said, I was a party favor at one of Diddy's parties. And then she went on to explain what that meant. Again, these may be allegations, but as much stuff is coming out about this wicked man, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Yeah, that party, I'd never heard of a party favor in that context until I heard that girl's story. And these are children. They are children. These are not adults that are on these tables. These are children. And the way that this girl described it, a single child could be violated by multiple adults in one single evening. That is how disgusting and defiling some of these ritualistic satanic parties are. So I will look for that young lady's testimony, because she did recently come back out just basically saying, I told you guys. And she had been talking about this stuff, but obviously nobody believes people like this until they actually have a case for, now we need people like this to talk, because now we're leveraging these people to take this person down. But that girl got suppressed and she disappeared for a while, and then she recently dropped a new video. And this is basically what she was saying, that what she claims that she was a party favor at Diddy's, one of Diddy's parties. And this is sad. This is so sad. These people are sick. These people are sick. There was a big fight between Stanley Kubrick and the film production company to edit out certain scenes of Eyes Wide Shut. He died before the movie was released. Wow. And hello, much love to everyone. Hope you are. What's up, Samuel? Much love to you too. We definitely, we got to look at some of this stuff, with an open eye, right? Because even as Black Americans, right? I don't like look at every Black American and say, they just trying to take our brother down, right? I like to look in between the lines, right? Diddy was an evil freaking dude. And it sucks that he was riddled with so much evilness, because he had so much potential to actually be a good leader in the Black community. So this is a big shame, in my opinion, because his self-centeredness really robbed him of an opportunity to be kinged. And when I say king, I mean really have the reverence among his people and be a builder of his people. But he wasn't that, and it's a shame. Check out that film. I've seen Eyes Wide Shut, but you know what? I'm gonna go revisit it because y'all know how you see certain movies, and then when you go back and look at them like years later, knowing more than you know, the movie looks totally different now. You start seeing subliminals that you never like saw the first time. So I am gonna go watch Eyes Wide Shut again because I'm pretty sure, and it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I'm sure that movie is riddled with subliminals that we actually should be believing. Full of symbology that I'm gonna that I'm definitely gonna watch that movie because I feel like there's so much revelations coming out before, and we talked about predictive programming a couple of days ago in one of my live stream. And I think a lot of times, these movies, these things are put in our faces, and it's almost like they're put in front of our faces in art form. So it's sort of like this it desensitizes the mind to believe that it's real. It's just a movie. It's just this. It's just art. So we're not calculating or even associating any of the stuff that we see sometimes with this is really happening. I talked about this a couple of days ago with the weather programs. They keep crying climate change. And I'm like, you got have machines that can adjust the whole climate, right? Let's pick a struggle here. Stop changing the climate. Stop, doing all this atmospheric stuff and then crying climate change so that we can just believe that the climate is changing. It's like y'all folks are changing the climate. But I think about like all these machines, and I did a video a couple of days ago about these weather machines. It's like I remember Despicable Me. And remember like when you were a kid, like all of the evil villains, they always seem to be making like weather machines, right? And they always have these weather machine types things. It's like cartoons, so that it makes our brain think that this is not possible. But really, they're just showing you what it is in a really cute way, hoping that you don't believe it. Yeah, Harp. And you know what's so funny? Harp was trending on Twitter a couple of days ago, right before Milton turned into from a three to, they were saying it was a category five. I'm like, these people, predictive programming and rap. Nicki Minaj said, I'm plotting on how I can take Cassie away from Diddy and Usher Little Freak. Hmm. I don't remember that line. But that line has a lot of deep meaning, though. Nikki said, I'm plotting on how I can take Cassie away from Diddy. Wow. See, these people, there's so much subliminal out there. It is so much subliminal out there. And it's like now, it's like we have to open our consciousness, folks. We like, if you're a real aware person, I don't believe in wokeness, right? I can wake up and be like, I'm woke, but I'm not quite aware, right? I believe in awareness, higher consciousness, right? And this is when you kind of look at, things like this and know what's going on. And now you can operate with a higher consciousness. And now you can question everything. I believe that people should question everything. If it doesn't make any sense, if it leaves you in a contradictory state, question it. Yes, I'm gonna go back and listen to that for real. Shout out, is it Malkuth? Malkuth F? I'm gonna go out and look at that. But like I said, getting back to the original, Jaguar Wright is she's just gonna spew all kinds of things to get attention. You guys got to understand this woman is getting paid to go on these platforms, right? When people have guests on their podcast, a lot of times those guests aren't just doing it out the kindness of their heart. A lot of people are getting paid to be on these platforms. So people are actually paying Jaguar Wright to go spit all this stuff, all this conspiracy theory stuff. Revelation 5:8 and Revelation 14:2 speaks about harps. I'm gonna have to read those scriptures to see the correlation there, bro. But here's the thing: we are living in a revelation. These folk, a lot of people who don't have faith, they're not close to faith. They don't realize the times that we're living in. You see all these things, the world, these systems going from bad to worse. It seems like things are collapsing. A lot of people make the argument, well, it's always been like this. The world has always had these cycles and stuff. But people don't realize. And again, I ain't trying to scare folks. You can believe what you want to believe, but I do personally believe that we are in the last cycle in this system of things, right? um and I think that we are the judgment generations. I think if you look at Daniel's prophecy, you look at Daniel's timeline, Daniel gave us the timeline of mankind. And John, who wrote the Revelation, he basically co signed that timeline. And when you look at Daniel's timeline, you go Babylonian Empire. These are the world major influences, empires. You got Babylonia, you got Medo Persia, you got Greece, you got Rome. All of those have fell. And then you get down to the feet of the timeline, which is our generation. We are the feet mixed with iron and clay. And why are we the feet mixed with iron and clay? Because Rome had a stronghold that was the Iron Empire, right? But when Rome fragmented, right, the empire, basically dispersed, but there were still fragments of Rome. 7 to 10 nations, three got plucked out, right? The Vandals, right? And the Vatican took them out, by the way. But they got plucked out, right? So we have been led up until 1914 by the iron part of that. But then Daniel tells us that the feet is mixed with iron and clay. Well, where does the clay come from? This is America, right? We saw the second beast, America, rise in 1914. And how do we know this? Because when you look at the timeline of the Bible prophecies, all of those were major world powers, right? Rome was a major world power. Greece was a major world power. These nations had major dominance over other nations, right? But in the last part of the timeline, you see the feet mixed with iron and clay. And this is because we had these transitions of power, right? So America rose after we craftily structured our financial systems to take out the British sterling, right? Before America was the world reserve currency, it was those fragmented nations of Rome, Great Britain, the British World Empire, which was one of the fragmented nations of Rome. They were in power. America came in power in 1914, right after the war, right? We rose as a world reserve currency, right? But when you think about like our power structure, we are part of the second beast. And every beast in Bible prophecy, they're gonna be representative of horns, right? So on the first beast, this is your fragmented Roman Empire nations, they had 10 horns and 10 crowns. Why? Because they were monarchical, right? They had a king and they had a pope. The second beast had no crowns and only two horns. Why? Because America founded itself as being a republic. We did not want a king. We did not want a pope, right? But when you look at the second beast, there's two horns. And when you understand the dynamics of world power today, we know that that smaller horn is Israel. So lots of Bible prophecy in motion, folks. And if you don't understand them, I do recommend you go and check out my live stream, A Journey Through Bible Prophecy. If you are somebody who don't understand these things, maybe somebody has dictated or nitpicked the scriptures to you, you might want to kind of understand the full concept of the Bible, from start to end, to understand why I came to these conclusions. But we are living in the last days. We are the judgment generations. And, I think that there's just going to be a lot of signs that we look for. I expect increase of war, and it's not going to be like war of the past, because a lot of multiple nations are nuclear capable, right? Not just few. It's a few. Multiple nations around the world are nuclear capable. So I do expect, that we are going to see some global chaos. And I think it's going to be the fire starter. And I think what's going to happen is, in all that chaos, we are going to have an entity. They call it the Antichrist. But this person is going to come in, and they're basically going to say, hey guys, let's have peace and security, right? And everybody's going to believe in their peace and security. And then God's going to come like a thief and just take us all out. Well, not all of us, only I'm not going to be taken out. I pray. I'm trying to stay in covenant. But this is just my opinion. All right. This is my faith base. I don't consider myself a Christian. I consider myself more of a disciple of Messiah. I don't associate with organized religions, because I think most of them are apostate and they're straying people to their death. So you will never find a cross in my house, because those are carven images and against the 10 Commandments. But you do what you want to do. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. Let me know what you guys think about this. I pray for everybody. I pray for everybody. We are definitely living in some interesting time. As you read, so let's just do, I want to close out with this, just so you guys kind of understand. And this is for believers. So if you're not a believer, you're welcome to check out. But it's always good to understand what the Bible is telling us, because when you look at the world around you, sometimes you're like, dang, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? But Second Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 5, it says, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self control, brutal, not lovers of good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godly devotion, but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people. These people, when we look at the world today, the world has always had these types of people. But what Timothy is telling us is that in the last cycle of men, this is going to be a societal prevalent thing. There's not going to be a lot of good in people. People are going to have a lot of treachery in them. And we see this. We see this quite a bit. So I tell my people, understand the schemes of time that you're living in. If you are a believer, you don't want to get caught lacking like those people in the days of Noah. Remember, in the days of Noah, they were eating, they were drinking, they literally did not believe that there was going to be divine destruction befall the earth. And then the flood literally did come. And what's interesting is, I want you guys to go in your spare time, if you're just like a nerd out person, look at where the carcasses of the Nephilim went. The carcasses, the bones, the remains of the Nephilim, the giants, the dinosaurs, and the dragons, right? They have been, when you're looking at the discovery of these things, they are found in the United States, and the dragons are found, the dragon fossils are found in China. That's why their culture is around dragons. When you look at the Chinese culture, it is beyond them idolizing a notion of a dragon. It is because those Nephilim fossils are found there. You can find those fossils in China of actual dragons. Dragons existed because they were Nephilim. Like the fallen angels, they were not just procreating with humans, they were procreating with animals as well. This is where we got the dinosaurs. I actually, when I realized, because I have to read the book of Enoch, and when I realized what they were actually doing, and I realized that dinosaurs are products of Nephilim. We shouldn't be worshiping these things. Like it's literally like you're worshiping the evil child of Satan, their bones. Because this is Nephilim, they were not holy things. It's like dinosaurs were wicked creatures, and they did exist, and they were products of these Nephilim. And it's so funny how they want to convince mankind that the prehistoric times was not the days of Noah. When you hear prehistoric times, I want you to think the days of Noah, because that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. There was no ice age, there was a great flood, and it wiped out quite a few things on this earth except for Noah and his family, right? Go back, look at human history. There's a lot of stuff that they're lying to you about because they don't want you to know that the Bible is one of the most accurate books in human history. It literally it's the most accurate chronology of human history, and all you have to do is contrast the Bible, what's written in those biblical accounts, what really actually happened on earth. This is why you see people like Xerxes, Artaxerxes, Darius. They are mentioned in the Bible because these were real people in life, right? Darius the Mede, right? Cyrus the Great. These people are mentioned in the Bible for a reason, because they had some role or significance in biblical history. Cyrus the Great was responsible for getting the Israelites back to their land. And it was Persia who actually funded the Second Temple rebuild with tax breaks. People don't realize that. But when you look at it, these people are mentioned in the Bible. All you have to do is contrast what is written in the Bible to real human history, and you're going to see they parallel. They definitely parallel. So I wanted to just put this out there to you guys. I didn't really mean to go into the biblical stuff, but if you do want to learn more about how to read your Bible, how to understand it, I would encourage you to check out my live stream. You got to go through my little tabs there, but look for that video. It's about an hour discussion, but it's a journey through the Bible. And I give a really brief overview from cover to cover of what you should be understanding in these accounts and how you should be understanding them. Do not look at the Bible as stories. These are human accounts, right? What's your name? Marco. It's like Marco writing a diary, right? And he's writing about all the things that he observes, right? And then Marco documents this, and then like hundreds of years later, we read about what Marco put, right? And Marco tells us that this world was crazy, and people like Diddy was being taken down. This is what the Bible is. These are real people, real life people who were observing things on earth. And maybe they understood certain prophecies or predictions that were supposed to happen. And their job was really to share that with other people, help them be on alert so that they could understand the signs. So in the Revelation, Brother John tells us, watch for the signs. Well, what are these signs? How the world is changing. How the world is changing. That's what Brother John wants us to see. How has the world changed? Did it change for the better? Did it change for the significant worse? And I venture to say generation after generation after generation, regardless of technological advancement, mankind has not gotten better. We've actually gotten worse. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for joining in to my live stream. Um, and I just pray for all of y'all. Like I said, if you want to get enlightened about the Bible journey, please check that out. You can message me, hit me up. I'd be happy to, help you with your Bible study and understanding stuff. I mean, I think we should be willing to help each other like that. So, With that being said, thank you so much for people who tuned in. Johnny, I see you, my friend. Marco, thank you so much. Puff Daddy is crazy, bro. Puff Daddy is crazy. Hit that subscribe button if you like content like this. I usually just freestyle off the top of my head, but I love the engagement. You look beautiful. What's up, UK? I see you. Thank you, Leon. So y'all stay blessed. Keep your prayers up and love your neighbor as yourself. If you won't abuse yourself, if you won't disrespect yourself, don't abuse or disrespect your neighbor. And the closest neighbor that you will ever have starts with your family. All right? It starts with your family. So let's make sure that our family ties are tight, because in a world like this, we need to stay close to each other. We don't have time to be in some broken rivalry about this and that. We really need each other. So just think about that, y'all. And y'all have a wonderful day. Bye. Oop.